I was the counterfeit heir, the cuckoo in the nest who had unwittingly stolen the spot of the true daughter. On the first day the real heiress returned, she made a massive spectacle of wanting me thrown out onto the streets. But the moment she actually laid eyes on me, her demeanor shifted. Her eyes lit up, and her lips curled into a knowing, dangerous smile. "Julian Thorne, I finally found you." The entire family's gaze instantly locked onto me. My mother frowned, confusion etched on her face. "You two know each other?" How could I not? This real daughter looked exactly like my ex-girlfriend from New York, the psycho heiress I fled from. Earlier that day, I was standing on the putting green at the country club with my best friend, Brody. The sun was beating down on the manicured grass as I swung my club. The ball sank perfectly into the hole. Just as I was about to celebrate, my phone buzzed. It was Grandfather Silas. "You aren't a Thorne," the old man said, his voice gravelly and blunt. "The real daughter is sitting in the living room right now. That little girl has claws. I'm afraid you're no match for her." Grandfather never sugar-coated anything. It stung. Brody noticed my expression drop. "What's up? That Sterling girl harassing you again?" "No, I have to go home. Now." I left Brody there, flooring the gas pedal of my Porsche all the way back to the estate. The Thorne family built its empire on real estate and bloodlines. For 20 years, I had been groomed as the heir, my life mapped out down to the arranged marriage with the Sterling family heiress. It was all a merger, strictly business. This sudden appearance of a real daughter sounded like a play for the family trust. I hadn't even stepped into the foyer when I heard her voice. It was melodic but laced with aggression. "Since the DNA is clear, please ask him to move out immediately. We shouldn't waste everyone's time." "But we've raised him for 20 years. It doesn't feel right," my mother said, her voice trembling with guilt. "Mom, Dad, he's an adult. He can support himself. You've taken care of him for so long. Are you going to hide the truth and let him resent you later?" She was exactly as Grandfather described, manipulative. A few sentences in, and she was already driving a wedge between me and my parents. But that voice, why was it so familiar? I pushed the heavy oak doors open, ready to shout, "Why are you in such a rush to kick me out?" But before the words left my mouth, she turned around slowly. I froze, feeling like I'd been struck by lightning. That face. It was her, my New York nightmare. The real heiress looked surprised for a split second, then her eyes glittered with predatory delight. My heart hammered against my ribs. My first instinct was to run. "Julian Thorne, freeze!" Damn it, I couldn't make a scene in front of Mom and Dad. "You know each other?" Mom asked, her brow furrowed. She walked over, her fingers clamping onto my arm like a vice, pinching the tender flesh while smiling sweetly at my parents. "We do. We met back in college." "Small world, isn't it?" I gritted my teeth against the pain, forcing a smile. "Yeah, small world." She leaned in close to my ear, her whisper like ice. "I looked everywhere for you. You can't run this time." I had met Victoria Vance in New York City during a business immersion program at Columbia. Victoria was the campus legend, aloof, aristocratic, and brilliant. The dream girl of every finance bro in the tri-state area. But she was ice cold, ignoring every suitor, until the professor announced a simulated corporate takeover war. Everyone looked at Victoria, the business prodigy, expecting her to crush it. We were paired up, but our opponents were dirty players. Just as she was cornered, stressed, and on the brink of a simulated bankruptcy, I stepped in. I proposed a radical strategy. Liquidate the blue-chip stocks to free up cash flow. Survival first, expansion later. She looked at me then, a spark of surprise in her eyes. The gamble paid off. We didn't just survive, we annihilated the competition. The classroom erupted in applause. Victoria stood amidst the cheering crowd and smiled at me, a rare, radiant thing. "The Vance heiress is something else," people whispered. "Beauty and brains. I heard she manages a billion-dollar portfolio already." After class, she walked up to me. "Thank you. What's your name?" "Julian. Julian Thorne." "Good. I'll remember that." The corner of her lip ticked up. "To thank you, I'm taking you to dinner." The next day, a Bentley pulled up to the curb, jaws dropping all around campus. When the window rolled down to reveal Victoria, the crowd went wild. "No way. That's Victoria Vance's car. Who's the lucky guy getting in?" That was how it started. We dated. We hit the best Michelin star restaurants in Manhattan, watched indie films, debated market trends, and vacationed in the Hamptons. Then one day, she looked at me with intense, burning eyes. "Julian, let's get married." I panicked. I was young, a playboy heir who wasn't ready to be tied down. So, I did the mature thing. I ghosted her. I fled New York and ran back to Chicago. As I was leaving the city, I saw the massive digital billboard in Times Square, the one that costs 50 grand for 10 seconds. Victoria's face was plastered on it, looming over the city. The text read, "Julian Thorne, you just wait. I will find you. Since you two know each other, that's perfect. It'll help you bond," Dad said, trying to diffuse the tension. "This is your sister, Victoria. Julian, you probably know by now. You aren't our." "Mom, Dad, I know. Since my sister is back, I'll pack my things and move out." "No." Both Mom and Victoria shouted at the same time. Victoria pinched my arm again, hard, her smile never wavering. "I just got back. How can I let my big brother live on the streets? It's so unsafe out there. Right, brother?" She shot me a look that promised murder if I disagreed. My face was flushed with pain. I squeezed out a reply. "Sister's right. Mom, Dad, I'll stay. It's safer." My parents looked bewildered. They couldn't understand why Victoria, who had been demanding my eviction 5 minutes ago, had done a complete 180. But Mom was relieved. "That's good," Mom said quickly. "I'll have the housekeeper, Mrs. Higgins, prepare a guest room for Victoria." "No." Victoria's voice cut through the air. Silence. Everyone stared at her. "Then where will your brother sleep?" Mom asked cautiously. Victoria's eyes gleamed. Let him sleep in the storage room in the attic." "The storage room? But how can we?" Dad started. Victoria dug her nails into my bicep again. "Brother, what do you think?" Yes. I like small spaces. Cozy. The attic is fine. If sister likes my room, she should have it." My parents looked completely bewildered. "Is the boy running a fever? Is he delirious?" "I'm fine, really. Mrs. Higgins, please clear out the attic." "Yes, young master." My parents looked moved, thinking I was being incredibly gracious to the new arrival. Little did they know I was being held hostage. I quickly led Victoria upstairs to my room, leaving my parents to marvel at my maturity. "Julian is really grown up," I heard Dad sigh. So, Victoria took over my master suite, and I was relegated to a dusty room filled with old holiday decorations. To celebrate her return, Mom ordered a feast. Filet mignon, lobster thermidor, the works. I was starving after golf. I reached for a piece of lobster. Slap. Mom swatted my hand away. "That is for your sister." "How can you be so greedy? It's all the hospital's fault for the switch. Your sister suffered for years." She placed the lobster onto Victoria's plate. "Tori, honey, I know you had a hard life and probably never ate good food. Try this." "Hold on. Hard life?" I stared in shock. She managed a billion-dollar portfolio in New York. Victoria blinked her doe eyes at me, putting on a pitiful expression. "Thank you, Mommy. I haven't had food this good in so long. I feel so blessed." This woman, I noticed she was wearing a simple, off-the-rack sundress. No designer laves. But nothing could hide the aristocratic posture she carried. It was laughable that my parents bought the poor girl act. She was clearly playing the victim to turn them against me. But the joke was on me. I really was the fake heir. That night, I lay on a cot in the attic, staring at the purple bruises on my arm. I couldn't sleep. Karma, I thought. This is definitely karma. Just then, the door creaked open. She was actually here. She tiptoed to my cot. "Honey, are you asleep?" I didn't make a sound. I held my breath. "Stop faking. I know you're awake." Her tone was teasing. She reached out and pinched my other arm. "Ow. Hey, stop." I sat up, rubbing my arm. "Princess, what do you want?" Well. So you were the Chicago Thorne heir all along. No wonder you had such a good head for business," she sneered. "Turns out your net worth wasn't bad. And here I thought you ran away because you felt inferior to my money. Do you know how hard it was to find you?" After a few rounds of mockery, she interrogated me on why I left. I hadn't thought that far ahead back then. I just wasn't ready for marriage. But looking at the glint in her eyes, I shuddered. If I gave the wrong answer, I might not survive the night. I used the ultimate male defense mechanism. I was wrong. Wrong? Where were you wrong? I shouldn't have left you. Victoria scowled and pinched me again. Ow. Oh, so you still feel pain? I thought a man like you had a heart of stone. Victoria, seriously, what do you want me to do? This is a guy's bedroom. Well, attic, why are you acting so innocent now? You weren't this shy when we were together in the city. She leaned over, aggressive. Come on, tell me. Exactly how were you wrong? She was relentless. Wasn't my quiet exit enough of a hint? Women are impossible. Seeing the murderous intent in her eyes, I panicked. Okay. I don't know exactly where I messed up, but from now on, I'll listen to whatever you say, okay? As soon as the words left my mouth, she pinched me again. Harder. Ignoring my wails, Victoria stood up, smoothed out her dress, and nodded. That's a bit better. I'm satisfied for today. I suspected she just came up here specifically to bruise me. Wait, I asked as she turned to leave. You're really my parents' daughter? Then what about my biological parents? How are they? She paused, her back to me. Your parents were good people. Great people. When I pressed for details, she shut down. It wasn't simple. The next day, I received a text from Serena Sterling, my fiancée. She wanted to cancel the engagement. I had zero feelings for Serena. The engagement was purely to secure capital from the Sterling family during a liquidity crisis. It was grandfather's idea. I didn't expect the news of me being a fake to spread so fast. I arrived at the bistro. Serena was already seated, looking immaculately put together. Yulian, I'm sorry. This was my grandfather's decision. I have to marry the Thorn heir. I smiled internally and signed the annulment papers without hesitation. Serena seemed annoyed by how easy I made it. Julian, you're letting go that easily? Did you have no feelings for me at all? Feelings? It was a business merger. Did she actually think we were in love? Julian, even though you aren't the heir anymore, and I'm out of your league. She paused, looking me up and down with a calculating gaze. If you're willing to be with me quietly, on the side, I can provide you with enough allowance to live comfortably. I almost choked on my water. Was the Sterling heiress asking me to be her kept man? Her boy toy. Before I could politely tell her to go to hell, a blur of red rushed past me. A glass of water was snatched from the table and splashed directly into Serena's face. Where did this fox come from, trying to seduce another woman's man? Victoria stood beside me, cold fury on her face. Serena shrieked, standing up, water dripping from her designer nose. Who the hell are you? Where did this village trash come from? Village trash. Victoria Skov. She turned to me. Darling, is this really your type? I shook my head violently. Serena's face turned green. She pointed a trembling finger at us. Julian Thorn, you had a woman on the side this whole time, and you still let me engage you? You're blind. You just wait. Stop right there, Victoria commanded. What do you want? Stay away from him. If I see you near him again, I'll hit you. You? Serena stomped her foot and stormed out. Darling, Victoria purred, turning to me. No wonder you ignored me. You like these T-bitch types? What does the Sterling girl have that I don't? Am I not better than her? On the ride home, she compared herself to Serena relentlessly. I explained 1,000 times that Serena meant nothing, but she wouldn't drop it. Princess, I really have nothing to do with her. How can I make you believe me? Really? Then kiss me. Looking at her teasing eyes, my heart skipped a beat. I leaned in. It felt like falling into a trap, but a very sweet one. We were back in it. But offending the Sterling family meant trouble was coming. Back at the estate, my parents announced a gala to formally introduce Victoria. They invited every elite family in Chicago. Victoria promised me a surprise. Given her track record with surprises, like the Times Square billboard, I was terrified. The banquet hall was dripping in gold and crystal. I stood in the corner, nursing an espresso martini. My friend Brody was buzzing in my ear. Julian, even if you aren't the heir, I've got your back. You'll never go hungry. Suddenly, his eyes went wide. Whoa, look at that. I followed his gaze. Victoria was descending the grand staircase in a crimson gown, walking across the marble floor like she owned the building. She was cold, regal, and breathtaking. The room went silent. Who is she? I've never seen her in Chicago before. Brody was practically drooling. I smirked. Don't bother. That's my girlfriend. What? Brody choked. Julian, stop lying. Since when do you have a girlfriend that looks like that? Can you stop acting like? Holy crap. She's walking over here, Brody whispered frantically. She's totally into me. I smacked the back of his head. Dream on. Victoria stopped in front of us, hooked her arm through mine, and smiled elegantly. Darling, introduce me to your friends. Brody's jaw hit the floor. Bro, I didn't think you were serious. You've been hiding her. I felt the eyes of the room on us. Envy, jealousy. It was high profile, but I didn't hate it. Just as we were turning to leave, a shrill voice cut through the air. Serena Sterling marched over. Oh look, the village girl thinks she fits in, Serena sneered. Julian, just because you aren't the heir anymore, don't bring your trashy mistress to a formal event. Aren't you afraid your parents will throw you out? This isn't a place for people like you to hook up. Smack. Victoria didn't let her finish. She slapped Serena across the face. The sound echoed through the hall like a gunshot. The crowd gasped. Miss Sterling, Victoria said coldly. Did you forget the lesson from lunch? Serena clutched her cheek, lips trembling. You. I am a fiancé designated by the Thorn family. Just wait until the young master comes out. I'll have him throw you into the street. Victoria smiled, a look of pure disdain. I'm looking forward to it. The crowd began to whisper. The Sterling heiress just got slapped. Suddenly, the crowd parted. My parents walked onto the stage. Dad took the microphone. Tonight, I want to introduce a true member of the Thorne family. Our daughter, Victoria Thorne. Victoria walked up to the stage, bathing in the spotlight. Serena looked like she was having a stroke. Brody stood with his drink frozen halfway to his mouth. Wait, she's the daughter, someone whispered. So she's not the mistress? Victoria introduced herself briefly, then scanned the room. Her voice was calm, but ironclad. Today, in front of everyone, I have an announcement. I am formally renouncing my claim to the Thorne inheritance. Because there is someone more suitable than me. The room went dead silent. She looked at me, her gaze burning. He is the person I love most. My brother, Julian Thorne. Hundreds of eyes swiveled to me. Shock, confusion, and massive gossip potential. My parents froze. I froze. Was she implying incest? Thankfully, my parents just thought it was deep sibling affection. Mom wiped a tear from her eye. Such deep sibling love. The crowd, however, was murmuring about how weirdly intimate we seemed. Dad recovered quickly, clapping me on the shoulder. In that case, the future of the Thorne family remains with Julian. Victoria walked down to me. How was it? Did you like your gift? Honestly, I wanted freedom more than the family business. But her gesture, that was love. But then, Serena stormed over, red-faced. Julian Thorne, you hypocrites. You tricked me. Just you wait. I'm telling my grandfather to cancel every contract with the Thorne Group. Without the sterling capital, you'll be bankrupt by morning. Don't bother begging. My parents panicked. What happened? Serena, please. Ask your wonderful children. Serena spat. They're hooking up. It's disgusting. Smack. Victoria slapped her again. You really don't learn, do you? Victoria Said. You? Fine. You think being a Thorne makes you safe? My grandfather is on his way. You're dead. Heh, Victoria Chakil. I'd like to see what your grandfather can do. Mom was trembling. Tori, what is going on? We can't afford to fight the Sterlings. Dad looked pale. Julian apologized to her. Now, usually, we would have to bow down. The Sterlings were our liquidity lifeline. But they messed with the wrong woman. Mom, Dad, relax, I said. She knows what she's doing. A booming voice came from the entrance. Who dares bully my granddaughter? Is this how the Thorne family raises their children? You will give me an explanation today. My parents bowed frantically. Mr. Sterling, we are so sorry. We failed to teach them. Victoria, Julian, epaleyas. Serena smirked through her swelling cheek. Scare now? Too late. Victoria crossed her arms. What if I don't? You want Silas Sterling to come see me? Victoria asked. My grandfather? You aren't worthy to speak his name. Serena screamed. Her father was already on the phone. Assistant Zhang cut all ties with the Thorne Group. My parents were on the verge of tears. Victoria calmly pulled out her phone. Who is so bold? Another voice rang out. Silas Sterling walked in, leaning on a cane, surrounded by bodyguards. He looked furious, until he saw Victoria. His face went white. He looked like he'd seen a ghost. This is, Silas stammered. Mr. Sterling, Victoria Ismail Pelaitli. Silas Sterling reacted instantly. He grabbed Serena's head and forced her into a 90-degree bow. He kicked Serena's father in the shin, forcing him to kneel. I am deeply sorry for the rude behavior of my son and granddaughter. Please, Chairwoman Vance, forgive us. I will punish them immediately. Please do not take offense. Before anyone could process this, Silas beat his son and granddaughter out of the hall with his cane. Serena's screams faded down the hallway. Grandpa, why are we afraid of her? Shut up, you idiot. Do you want to bankrupt our New York operations? What just happened? Mom whispered. Dad stared at Victoria with a mix of awe and terror. Victoria became a legend overnight. Rumors started flying. Wait, isn't the Vance family in New York run by a young female genius? Was she looking for someone? Brody sat in the tea house later, shaking his head. My brother is a god. How does he have this kind of luck? Back at the estate, my parents sat us down. Talk. What's going on? I sighed. Mom, Dad. Victoria is the ex-girlfriend from New York I told you about. Mom paused. She remembered me coming home a month ago, talking about a rich heiress wanting to make me her kept man. Mom had laughed then. So, she is the Vance heiress? No wonder Silas Sterling almost had a heart attack. Dad looked confused, but Mom dragged him out of the room. Let's give them some space. Victoria and I were left alone. What did you tell your mom? I don't know. I think she approves. Victoria is mirkiv. Are you shy? She leaned on my shoulder. Julian, why didn't you marry me back then? Was the Vance fortune not enough? She looked like she might cry. I couldn't tell her the truth, that I was just a commitment phobe back then. No. I had the engagement with Serena. Victoria exploded. Her again. Did you actually like that fox? Fine. I'll make the Sterling family disappear. No, no. I grabbed her. In my panic, I blurted out, I just craved your body. Slap. Scumbag. Shameless. She stormed off, leaving me holding my cheek. What did I do wrong? But after that, she changed. She started wearing lace, silk, revealing outfits, walking around the house like a runway model. Every time she came out of the shower, smelling of vanilla and trouble, she'd kiss me. Darling, didn't you crave my body? Do you like this? Okay, I admit it. I'm a sinner. We fell back into a relationship. It was intense. Eventually, we went to visit my grandfather, Silas Thorne. He was having tea with an old friend. Julian, Victoria, Comain. This is my old friend, Mr. Vance. Haven't seen him in years. I nodded politely. Mr. Vance looked up at me and dropped his teacup. Is this your grandson? He asked, trembling. Of course, my grandfather grunted. Unless he's yours? He looks exactly like my missing son. Old Vance, have you gone senile? I watch him grow up. Mr. Vance looked at Victoria. His face changed. Wait, old Thorne, what was your son's name? The one who died? Julian's dad. My biological father was named Leo Vance. Victoria interrupted quietly. You were the granddaughter they found. Mr. Vance whispered. He looked at me, then her. His eyes filled with tears. Your mother. Was she named Sarah? How do you know? Victoria asked. Oh my God, Mr. Vance stood up and hugged her. I am your grandfather. Small world. Then, Mr. Vance turned and hugged me. My grandchildren. You've suffered so much. My grandfather, Silas Thorne, looked like his brain had short-circuited. Hey, you old bat, those are my grandkids. The two old men argued, but mostly they cried. Mr. Vance wanted to know about my parents. Victoria hesitated, then told the truth. My biological father, Leo Vance, the missing son of the New York Vances, was a narcotics detective. He was deep undercover in a cartel. When my mother went into labor, she followed him to be close. After I was born, there was chaos. The nurse switched the babies in the confusion. Later, my biological parents died in the line of duty. Victoria ended up with the Vances in New York. I ended up with the Thorns in Chicago. Hearing this, I realized why Victoria had been so fixated on me. Fate had tangled us together before we were even born. I realized I couldn't live without her. I wanted to surprise her. But fate loves a twist. I was walking to my car to go buy a ring when pain exploded in the back of my skull. Darkness. I woke up tied to a chair in a rotting warehouse. It smelled of mildew and rust. A large man with a scar across his face was squatting in front of me, playing with a switchblade. Julian Thorne, right? The Thorne heir. Tell your parents to wire the money, or we start cutting. Boss, a smaller thug interrupted. He's not the heir. He's the fake. The real one is the girl. What? The scar-faced man looked confused. We grabbed the wrong one. No, the small thug whispered. He isn't a Thorne, but he's the son of the cop who put your brother away. Oh, Scarface grinned. Even better. Should we just kill him? For revenge. Boss, murder is a life sentence. Damn it. What do we do? I realized these were the remnants of the cartel my father destroyed. Listen, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. I'm not the heir, but if you want money, I can call someone. She'll pay. How much? You figure out. 100 grand, Scarface decided. Call your friend. Tell her to bring 100,000 cash. No cops, or you die. They dialed Victoria. I know, she said calmly on the other end. Address. Oxhead Warehouse, outside the city. She hung up. Scarface laughed. She agreed fast. She must really love you. I smiled awkwardly. Is this your first kidnapping? How did you know? Scarface asked. It turned out Scarface was named Butch. He was broke and desperate. Time ticked by. Butch sat on a crate, dreaming of his 100 grand. Instead of cash, he got a sonic boom. The warehouse doors were blown off their hinges. Blinding floodlights cut through the gloom. A dozen black SUVs screeched to a halt, surrounding the building. Through the smoke, a figure walked in. Victoria wore a black trench coat, her hair whipping in the wind. Behind her was a phalanx of private security contractors with tactical gear. She looked at Butch with eyes that could freeze nitrogen. You asked for money. Butch dropped his knife. It wasn't me. He fell to his knees. I'm just broke. Please, ma'am. Have mercy. It was pathetic. The security team zip-tied them and handed them over to the police waiting outside. Victoria entiende. You got here fast, I said, rubbing my wrists. And you brought an army. I was worried. If I hadn't installed a tracker on your phone, you might have run away again. I laughed. You tracked me? You got a problem with that? She raised an eyebrow. I shook my head. I reached into my pocket and pulled out the diamond ring I had managed to hide from Butch. Actually, I was trying to surprise you. Victoria Vance, will you marry me? She paused. I expected tears. I expected a yes. She smirked. You made me chase you for years. No, I need to think about it. You have to chase me now. Princess, are you serious? She turned and walked toward the SUV's, hips swaying. Catch me, and I might say yes. Story complete.